Hello and welcome. It's Japan, and we just had our last Raw of June on June 30th. It was honestly pretty decent, and we're gonna jump into it. I have it kind of stacked full of a lot of stuff because there was a lot of segments that did different stuff, and we'll talk about different parts too. So let's start off the show with Rhea Ripley. We obviously knew I mean, I thought this is pretty obvious of what was gonna happen. Rhea coming down, and then Io coming down, and them just setting up the championship match at Evolution. I mean, I think this promo itself was nothing too special because it wasn't anything, it was just her going out there and talking and stuff. I think Rhea deserves it. I'm kind of more on the base that I kind of preferred this match to be like towards SummerSlam and have maybe Io defending the title like in not necessarily like a throwaway match, but just like a match against somebody else. Though I didn't put this as a segment, they did have a Kairi Sane thing, and she put up her little telescope thing, and she was looking at Io's title. I thought that was a little nice touch. I know that's kind of a complete side tangent, but I would have probably preferred like that match being at Evolution or even against Asuka. I guess Asuka would probably be the next best thing at SummerSlam if Io escapes. I don't know. I really don't know because this title reign's been a little bit weird. So let's go with the first part. I mean, obviously, Rhea coming down is fine, and their interaction with was perfectly fine, so I put that up in S tier. This match, I'm going to put up in A. Not that I'm excited, or not that I'm not excited about it. I like this match. I just think it's a little soon to have it. I don't know how Evolution's going to work and like how crazy of a PLE it is, and this is kind of crazy that we're not going to. I feel like there should have been just a better match for Io here to be setting up Rhea for SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam would have been the better match of those two, and maybe we'll still get a best of two series, but I don't see Io probably losing it here. But you never know. So we're gonna put that up in A because it's not necessarily the right spot for me. Next up, we had a little bit of thing that's just going to get memed to hell is Dom and AJ, with Dom bringing his doctor's note and AJ having to pull out his glasses to read it, and then doing like, yeah, it does say your little little shit on it. I liked it. It's a good meme thing. It's going to be a good meme format for a long time. So I'm going to put it up in S tier. I still like that they're still trying to hold on to the rivalry. I don't know how long Dom's going to be out. I don't think it's super long, so I don't mind them trying to keep this a little warm so it's not completely dead on arrival when it gets to SummerSlam. Then we have the tag team titles: New Day versus the Judgment Day. Um, there's a lot to be said here. Honestly, I actually got to move that back too. I don't really know. Okay, well, first we'll go into the match. I guess that's the best way of doing it. The match itself, I actually thought was phenomenal. I think both teams did great. Judgment Day looked really good out there, especially Finn Balor. I think they did a really good job. This match honestly could have been on the it should have been on the card. It should have been on the Night of Championships card. I think it would have fit in there pretty nicely. I'll put the match up there in A, but I do want to have a side tangent. And what the hell is this New Day run? Like, I was a big believer for the New Day to get the championships because I thought Heel Day would be something really good, but there's no payoff. There was nothing. They just lost it to another heels. It wasn't even like they lost to a babyface team that rallied together to take them out. They lost to another heel faction or another heel team. I don't understand that. So I put it up in A. The match I thought did absolutely great, but yeah, I don't know. Next up, we had the women's tag team championship fatal four way that's going to be at Evolution. Roxanne Perez now has slid into the Judgment Day thing, being part of the members, which we'll talk about next. But this match, I think, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Now, honestly, the teams are going to be a little weird. I'm going to do a video on it fully, but I honestly only see like a couple teams being there. I think a lot of people have the Dungeon Dolls as the Raw team. I don't know about that, but like I said, I'll do a full video on this probably on the same day that this comes out, just because I think it's worth the talking. So, but the match itself, I'm really excited for. May finally get some type of tag division stuff. So I think that's good for Evolution. Next up, it shows obviously Roxanne joining the Judgment Day. She gets the vote in, and she is now one half the tag team champion. I'm happy. I mean, it's a very awful way that this happened, but it was kind of something that was already kind of happening, and it just ended up working out for the narrative to kind of run it back. I think it's it's the best of what they could do. I'm gonna put Judgment Day with gold up in A. I think it's a cool thing that the faction does feel better and more dominant now that they all have gold on it. And Roxanne winning the tag team titles, I have to go put up an S tier. I'm a big Roxanne fan. I'm glad she's got it. I know she didn't naturally win it the way that you normally would, but I think she'll defend it. I think they'll win at Evolution, so she can actually hold on to that. So it'll be a complicated mess for when Liv Morgan comes back. Next up, we obviously saw at the beginning of the show that Chad Gable's out, and Ludwig was listening to it, and then Grande Americano showed up looking like Ludwig. So I don't know if I like this storyline or not. I feel like there's two ways of thinking about it. I feel Ludwig deserves more screen time. I think he's a phenomenal wrestler, pretty decent on the mic. I think he deserves more time. Now, if there is no other booking for him other than this gimmick thing and then possible rivalry when he comes back against Chad Gable, if that's all he's gonna get, I honestly think it's better than nothing. I know it's kind of a weird thing, but I'm gonna put it up an A. I think I'm on board seeing where this is going. But yeah, next up is the announcement of the Battle Royale for Evolution. The winner gets a shot at the championship at Clash of Paris. I think that's a really cool thing. I was surprised they didn't do it for for SummerSlam, but I guess there must be some type of plan ahead of time. I mean, it's the next big event after SummerSlam, so maybe they have something planned. I very heartedly believe this is going to be a Stephanie McClure win without even knowing anybody that's in this match. But I really wanted to see a lot of women on this card, and a battle royale is perfect because we're gonna get a ton. Then we had Gunther come out and talk about Goldberg. This feud is fine. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not very invested, but I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens. I thought he did pretty decent on the mic. I'll put it up in A. Then he eventually gets interrupted by Seth Rollins talking about like, it wasn't his plan to cash in on John Cena. It was just to mess with CM Punk and all that. Perfectly love that. Then CM Punk's music came down and they brawled, which led into him escaping to the crowd and LA Knight recreating that Undertaker meme of sneaking up behind him and they get into a fight. Uh, all of it I thought was pretty decent. I liked all of it. I like him like see this is the thing I don't like about the women's Money in the Bank right now is that she's clearly just looking at Tiffany and not Io. I like Rollins looking at both champions because it makes it feel like it could be anywhere, anytime, at any moment. But so I'm gonna put this up in S tier. They also show that Seth Rollins has a new Money in the Bank. It's black and gold. Absolutely love this. If I was ever to buy a Money in the Bank briefcase, this is the one I'm buying. But probably too broke to be doing it. Then we had a kind of a random match, but it's been like building up. Lyra versus Bailey. This one's a weird one because I think the match could have easily been like almost an S tier match. It's just the ending with the double pin that doesn't quite make sense. Because like it, Lyra's on top, but Bailey is. I really honestly do not know what any of this is. How it becomes a double pin with Lyra on top, even though I'm pretty sure Bailey's arms weren't down, so it should have been no pin. I really feel like a double count out would have been a lot less convoluted because I know they're trying to set up a triple threat against Becky Lynch at Evolution, and this was kind of a sloppy way of doing it. But the match itself I thought was really good, and I liked the interaction afterwards as they both crash out on each other, which is just phenomenal. So I'll put it up an A. This show's been pretty good. Next up, we had LA Knight and Seth Rollins' official match for Saturday Night Main Event. Is our second match that we've gotten for that card. With having the card, like the double card on the weekend, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think this is perfectly fine. I thought it was a pretty solid match. I'm gonna go put it up in S tier. I'm liking the feud. Then we had the main event. It was Penta and Sammy versus Braun and Bronson. Just some big meat slapping around, knocking into Sammy. Sammy got attacked at the beginning of the show with Karrion Kross, which I wish they would have revisited in this main event because it got sloppy anyways. But basically, the match itself, I thought was pretty good. Penta did amazing. Sammy did some really good moves. He's playing up the injury, so obviously he didn't look super strong, but it wasn't too bad. And the other two just kind of are there. The problem is, like, Bronson Reed is just such a beast that, like, they kind of just dumb him down and, like, dumb down his performance out there instead of just letting him devour people because they got to make the baby faces look not too bad. But I really feel like they could have done something here. Obviously, Braun and Bronson Reed won this one. I think that was a good call. All hell broke loose. They, try to tax Sammy and Penta after the match, and Jey Uso had to come down and do the save. I, you know, I felt like there could be a good setup for a tag team match at Saturday Night Main Event coming from here. Bronson and Braun maybe. And no, well, Seth Rollins is already in the match. We're going to say a six-man tag match, but it wouldn't work. But they could always do that for a Raw or something, which I would also be fine with. I feel like it's not a bad necessarily, storyline going. I just feel like still not completely in it. The match itself, I thought was a pretty solid A. And I'd say I'd put the show up at the A. It was a pretty entertaining show. It was very jam packed for being a short show because they were doing a double taping. So I feel like that's kind of why I think it ended up being a little bit better because they just kind of cut to the point and did everything really fast. And the matches that they did have were pretty good. They didn't have a lot of matches too. I thought that was kind of crazy. The Judgment Day New Day match, I almost honestly think might have been one of my favorite matches of it. I thought it was a really solid match, and I actually didn't mind Judgment Day winning because the match was really good. Lyra and Bailey absolutely cooked. The main event cooked. Oh, I just realized I know why this does not make any sense. I'm like, dude, we had a fourth match. We had Rusev and Sheamus. I have that in B. I don't know why that picture is not here. I did save it, and I don't know why it's not here. But yeah, Rusev and Sheamus was a B. It was okay, but it was just just big guys going after each other. It was very entertaining though. So if somebody put that up higher, I probably wouldn't disagree with you. But a pretty solid Raw. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do Raw reviews, of Evolve reviews, SmackDown reviews, and a bunch of other wrestling channel stuff on here. So I think you'll enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.